Why, hello, folks! Today we're going to be looking at the new additions to the Helminth system. More specifically, the new segment that you can buy from Sun in Deimos if you've ranked up with the Entrati family. First, you get the actual Helminth segment from him, but now we have a new segment, the Helminth Invigorations segment, that you have to... You get the blueprint from him, and then you have to build it in your foundry. Which I just did. Which means we have one of those rare occasions where we can actually go and install a new segment in our orbiter. Always exciting. Shabam! Oh, this is rad. So now we have this new system here of Helminth Invigorations. It randomizes every week. It will present you with 3 different Warframes that can be boosted. You know, a bit like in arbitrations, you know, how a random Warframe will be boosted. If you do an invigoration like this, you pay the resource cost for doing it, then you get the boost for that Warframe for 7 days. And then it resets. It's random which ones are the options. It does not just... It's also different for every player. So this is just my selection for this week. Your selection will be different. It also does not just draw from the roster of Warframes you own, it draws from the entire roster of Warframes. So you could be presented with options for Warframes that you don't have. So, you know, same as with arbitrations. And every time you do an invigoration, you charge up this meter, and once it's full, you get to pick which Warframe will get the invigoration. It will be the one that you are currently sitting in the chair with. So I can actually make sure that my Equinox gets this invigoration. And what boost it's gonna be is also random. So Harrow, for example, is not always gonna have secondary damage and energy. It just happened to be at that this week. That being said, secondary damage and energy is probably really good for Harrow. Gauss, ability strength and parkour velocity. Wow, so speed, that doesn't even feel random, man. And Sevagoth gets melee damage and efficiency. Like, these all sound fantastic. So we're gonna spend the resources to do this, and I'm doing it also. Oh, I have to have him equipped while I sit in the chair. Understood. Good. Because also there's a reason for doing this, and that is because this will give EXP for the Helminth. Which is relevant to our interests, because they have also released like 5 new Helminth abilities, of which I'm gonna say 2 of them. 2 of them seem really interesting, and the rest seem kinda nothing. So I'll just pick Sevagoth, who I have ready and waiting, and we will invigorate him. Let's see. So we're at 7,500. How much EXP are we getting for this? Actually, a lot. Actually, a really huge chunk. Oh boy. Now it also costs like a lot of resources to do this, so we gotta bulk him up. Give him some cubic diodes. Give him some ganglion. Yeah, he loves that ganglion. What we're gonna do with all of them. And then, oh, look at that! I'm glowy now. I'm invigorated. Ah, that's rad. So now I have melee damage and ability efficiency. And seeing as how the way you build Sevagoth, you already build him for maximum efficiency. So plus 75% efficiency. Does that just mean that his abilities cost like nothing? Is that just it? That's crazy. And Gauss, as it were. You don't really build Gauss for ability strength, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to get a bunch of extra ability strength. So we're gonna invigorate Gauss. And Shaboom! Look at that. Enough EXP to just unlock the next Metamorphosis, which was the armor thing. The next one is going to be status effects, and then... Yeah, status effects. Immunity to status effects, which is kinda pointless as a Helminth ability, becoming immune to status effects. And the reason why that's kinda pointless is that we already have several Helminth abilities that can accomplish that. Either through pillage, you can cleanse yourself from negative status effects with pillage. There's also both like Firewalker and Spellbind that you can cast on yourself to make yourself status immune. So we already have Helminth abilities that can do this, but on the other hand, if you don't have a lot of Warframes, and you don't have a lot of extra Warframes to feed to the Helminth, then you might have not unlocked those Subsume abilities. Let's see, we need some more biotics. Here, have some Frostleep. And in that case, you'll just get these. You can just get these innate Helminth abilities without having to chuck one of your Warframes into his big mouth. Feeding the Helminth also is good for leveling him up. Here, have some Pustulite. Tasty Pustulite. So that also gives you some EXP. So these Invigorations have actually just gave me like 15,000 EXP or something. It's not bad at all. So now we gotta try this. Which one do we run with? The Harrow, the Gauss. I mean, I guess maybe Sevagoth. So we'll do a run with Sevagoth here, and we also obviously have to have the proper colors for that. What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Gotta make it right. Operator. Gotta make it look good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. That's nice. That's a nice looking Exceltra right there. And I don't know. How about the Catch Moon? Yeah. Nice Catch Moon right there. And then we also need a melee weapon of sorts. What about the good old Seti Lacera? Yeah, we like that one. That's a good one. Alright, so there, we are ready for action. Now, have I done anything here? Reap, Soul, Gloom, Exalted Shadow? No, I haven't. I haven't like infused with Helminth or anything. This is just your very typical 5 Forma Sevagoth. With his very typical 4 Forma Shadow and his extremely typical 6 Forma Claws. So it's your classic 15 Forma Sevagoth right here. But now, with even more ability efficiency and even more melee damage, which probably works for his Shadow as well with the Shadow Claws. So that should be nice and juicy right there.
Operator, you have remembered well.
And you can probably swap things around then, in that case. Because you probably don't need to run with this much efficiency if you already got boosted. So I'm wondering, this stat, if I just remove Streamline. Yeah, still at 175. And I don't think it can go beyond 175. I remove Fleeting, still at 175. So that's actually pretty rad that we can do that right now. That's pretty rad. And I don't know, I guess we'll put in something else instead. Right? Is casting speed? Do you care about that if you're Sevagoth? But we can always just chuck in like a primed flow or something. Right? Or maybe just some auger stuff, right? Maybe just some auger stuff. Yeah. Let's get ourselves some more range and strength. Look at this. Look at this juice. We got more duration, more range, more strength. Still got maxed out efficiency. So that's probably a pretty good Sevagoth right here. Let's see what we can do with him. 'Cause, you know, I'll just put the solo mode. I gotta get all of them new acolyte arcanes, right? Gotta get all them new acolyte arcanes. You know what? Let's just try this. Let's not be a tryhard. Let's not do an endurance run or anything. Hades? No, I think I've already done that. Yeah, I've already done that. I am not doing Steel Path Ambulance again. No. No. I am not that much of a masochist. I've done it once. I'm not doing that again. People, when this shows up, that you can do something like Steel Path Sargus Rock or Steel Path Ambulance as one of the dailies, so you can do it in a team, I recommend doing that.
Each enemy is more powerful than before. Only with true mastery of the Tenno arsenal will you succeed.
This is very true. Thank you for this. So now that they've doubled the spawn rate of acolytes, does that mean we'll get 2 acolytes in one of these Steel Path incursions, or is it only for like the endless missions? Like if you just do Steel Path survival? I'm wondering. Is that the only one? It might be in those missions that they've increased the spawn rate for these thingies. All right. Now, how did this thing work now? How did this thing work? I know I shoot this thing. I don't even remember what his number 2 ability does. It's been too long. Anyway, time for good old Shadow. So the question is now, since this is like a heavy attack build we're running here, how strong is this? Huh? You just use the number 1, right? And yeah, and the number 2, the dash through enemies thing. That's basically it. That's a one-shot. I like that. So plus 200% melee damage. The obvious like question as always is just, is it... Alright. Is it like additive with the melee damage you already have? Or is it like multiplicative? Who knows? All I know is I can slashy slash for days. And I'll be like, yo, what's up? That wasn't what I was intending on doing. I was gonna do this. Yeah. Whee! Hello? I am here to slash you. Obviously, I'm a gun person. Come on, don't be like that. There we go. So, I tend to not go that hard for like these melee-centric frames. It's not really my jam. Which is ironic that that's what we're gonna have to do right now. But the goal of this is to get the new... the Acolyte Arcanes. So that I can start doing gunplay in Steel Path the way I want to. Now, I want to talk about that a little bit, because, like, I've seen... Let's get one thing straight. It's like, the Warframe community has a penchant for hyperbole, I would say. Possibly, you know, taking things to the extreme. Maybe to the extent where things become a bit ridiculous. So, it's so weird how, like, the discourse regarding, like, guns and stuff. Ever since they started talking about the Arsenal Divide, and ever since they start talking about how they need to buff guns, people have, like, taken that to mean that, like, guns can't kill things in Steel Path. And that's why they're buffing guns, because they're, like, useless. And, like, they're super not. As you can see here, like, this is Steel Path. And this is Grineer, which is the toughest enemy units to fight in Steel Path. Corpus is easier, Infested is easier, but the Grineer, which is their absolutely ridiculous armor values, can be a struggle to deal with. But even so, this Acceltra right here, like I can absolutely kill things in the Steel Path as it is with my Acceltra. And I've always been able to do that. It's not that guns can't kill people in the Steel Path, it's just that melee kills things much faster. And it's also that melee kills things much faster with a much smaller investment. You can put like you can put like 2 or 3 Forma into a melee weapon and you can shred anything with it. Hell, you can go in with the 0 Forma and you can have a melee weapon that you know can do stuff in Steel Path. Whereas for most guns, you probably need to have like 7, 8 Forma something for it to like actually be able to kill anything. Like that's the problem. Not that they can't kill things, because they obviously can. So we'll see now. I mean, everyone's just getting started. Oh wow. That's not even heavy attacks. And I'm using a heavy attack build. And that's not even heavy attacks, and they're still just going down. So this plus melee damage obviously seems to be working like a charm. But everyone's still testing stuff out. My impression, from what I've sort of heard, as of yet, is that these Galvanized mods have been very successful in ramping up the damage of guns, especially combined with the arcanes. So to the point of, you know, people are still sort of figuring out the builds, how to do it correctly. It seems like if you have like the rank 5 arcanes and you manage to like just buff up the base damage to that extent, it seems people are starting to remove serration from their guns, because it's additive with the arcanes, not multiplicative. It seems to be that way, from what I've understood. I have to test it myself first before I can say for sure, but that seems to be the information going out right now. Which means it's got diminishing returns. If you have one mod that gives you plus 100% melee damage, or 100% damage, then, you know, that's gonna double your damage. But then if you do another mod that also gives plus 100% damage, but it's not like a multiplicative bonus, it's an additive bonus, well then that just means it's another 100% on top of the previous 100%, that is plus 200%. So it's only gonna give 50% more melee, or just more damage after the first one. And if you were to add another 100% damage of the same damage type, then that would only be a plus 33% damage increase at that point. That is why you're supposed to stack different damage types, because that means the bonuses multiply with each other instead of just adding. So don't put in one mod that just gives plus damage, and then another mod that gives plus damage, and then another mod that gives plus damage. No, don't do that. Instead, have one mod that gives plus damage, then another mod that gives plus elemental damage, then another mod that gives multi-shot, then another mod that does crit chance, then another mod that does crit damage, then another mod that does fire rate, and then status types that make enemies take more damage, so it's a debuff in that regard. Like, if you do that, then you start multiplying damage, and multiplying, and multiplying, and multiplying, and that's when you start to do the really, really stupid damage numbers. So, since these new arcanes just add a big old chunk of base damage, that means you probably, at this point, are supposed to remove Serration from your builds and replace it with something else. If you have a lot of status chance on your weapon, you could go for a hybrid build. So you could use the Galvanized mod that gives you increased status chance, in addition to, for example, the Galvanized mod that gives you increased multi-shot. Something like that. Now that wouldn't be good for the Exceltra, because the Exceltra only has like a single damage type on its normal rockets, which is impact. So it doesn't have like a bunch of different damage types. And it has very low status chance. But a lot of different guns would be suited for some sort of like hybrid build. Alright, we got an Acolyte. Now we just gotta find him. Oh, he's here. Hello guys, I got him right here. I tagged him. Now, let's do some slashies. I missed. I hit. I hit. Yeah, he go down. He go down to this bad boy right here. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it. God damn. Look at all of this melee damage. Melee damage at peak efficiency.
You exist to strike. You strike to win.
I do exist to strike. Man, I am getting so many primary dexterities, but that's not the one I want. I don't want to use melee weapons. No. It's the wrong one. It's the wrong one, people. But yeah, this seems fun. I kind of like the idea of these Helminth Invigorations being a sort of way to sort of like just entice you and encourage you to play with different Warframes. Just bring something out of the old, that old, you know, dusty corner of the wardrobe, where he's just been sitting, waiting for you to play with him while you're busy with your new toys. It's kind of rad. It kind of opens up a lot of like modding as well.
Now get out there.
Where it's like very easily to just like give him a huge power spike with this for a couple of days. Kind of like it. Kind of like it. Yeah, we're gonna be fiddling with this. Let me know if you are interested in more content like this with invigorations and different invigoration builds, serving as sort of examples for how you can take advantage of the system. Like in this video, for example, I just very quickly sort of took the invigoration I got and tweaked my normal Sevagoth build based on that invigoration. I could do that for other stuff that shows up and see sort of like just give out some thoughts for how you can take advantage of certain combos that could show up. Even though it's random for everyone, so most people wouldn't need it immediately, but it could just sit there. It can just sit there on the channel until you do get like invigoration options like that, and then you can go back and watch some of these videos and see what you can do. Maybe I can even come up with like weekly Helminth builds. I was like, oh, with this invigoration, suddenly it opens up for this Helminth ability being good on this Warframe for like a week. That could be a thing. Anyway, let me know in the comment section if you want to see more content featuring Helminth Invigorations. And if you do, then I'm going to try to come up with some spicy stuff for you. And in the meantime, I will see you again tomorrow for something completely different.